as opposed to being smart enough to understand that our differences were never different. It was just a minor miscommunication, you know. A lot of times men get right on the side of his head and just start talking to him in his ear. Just talking to him. I don't even know what the fuck I was saying, but it was something to the effect of like...
Snoop Dogg reportedly boarded a private jet under the cover of night and left the country, but not for any ordinary reason like a tourer. Behind the scenes, a far more disturbing claim is circulating. Allegedly, Sean Diddy Combs has cooperated with federal authorities and pointed the finger at Snoop as the person responsible for ordering Tupac Shakur's killing. Sources claim Diddy's team is preparing to present supposed evidence in court this August. This situation has escalated beyond online gossip, with claims that a convicted figure...
The reason we asked everyone to be here today is obviously we are the new attorneys for Dwayne Davis in the Tupac case, now set for trial February of next year. The reason in particular that we asked the media to be here is that, obviously we're not trying the case in the media, but we want to establish better relations with the media.
Is now implicating another major icon. The upcoming trial tied to Keefe D, scheduled for August 10th, 2026, is being seen as a critical turning point. Meanwhile, Snoop's sudden departure is being interpreted by some as a move to stay ahead of potential legal trouble, before any formal charges have even surfaced. Pause and look at how unusual this sounds. For years, the common belief was simple. Keefe D would be the key witness against Sean Diddy Combs. The expectation was that once he spoke, the long-standing questions about the Las Vegas incident involving Tupac Shakur would finally be answered. That was the narrative people had settled on. But now, according to various insider claims, that narrative appears to have shifted. Instead of reinforcing earlier accusations, Keefe D is said to have redirected attention elsewhere, towards Snoop Dogg. A figure who had previously pointed fingers in one direction is now allegedly changing course. At the same time, there are claims that Diddy has not remained passive, but has instead responded by implicating Snoop as well. His side is even rumored to be preparing evidence for an upcoming trial, with the court date approaching.
There's going to be a number of motions filed. There'll be a motion to suppress, filed promptly, that concerns the search warrant that was executed on his residence. That search warrant contained a nighttime clause, which is curious. You've got a case that's nearly 30 years old, yet you have this 24-hour nighttime search, this 24-hour authorization. So that's the first of several motions that we anticipate
approaching. The situation feels like a clock ticking down in full view. Then comes a contradiction that complicates everything. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has officially stated that Sean Combs has never been considered a suspect in the Tupac Shakur case. That is not vague wording. It is a firm, recorded position. Yet, in documented court materials, a 2009 police interview with Keefe D reportedly mentions Combs dozens of times. So you end up with two conflicting realities. An official stance from law enforcement that clears Diddy as a suspect, and recorded statements within legal filings that repeatedly bring his name into the conversation. That tension is not minor. It is a central fracture in the entire narrative, and it raises more questions than it answers. Let's dig into that detail, because it changes everything. Back in 2009, Keefe D sat with investigators and claimed that Diddy had put up $1 million bounty to eliminate Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. He described Diddy as being genuinely afraid of Suge, even recalling a moment after the shooting where Diddy allegedly asked, "Was that us?" And Keefe D responded proudly. These statements exist in official records.
Lately, it is the legal problems, charges he was involved in the Southland murder that have taken the spotlight, but
not just rumors or anonymous leaks. But then the entire foundation starts to wobble. Keefe D himself has openly admitted that he has lied for financial gain. He has said outright that he fabricated stories because money was involved. He even go as far as to claim that parts of his own memoir were not truly his words. That creates a serious dilemma. If he's unreliable by his own admission, how you decide which version of his story, if any, is true? You can't fully accept both his accusations and his confessions of dishonesty at the same time. That uncertainty leaves everything hanging in doubt. Now shift focus to Snoop. If someone innocent is accused by a person known for lying, the typical reaction is straightforward: dismiss it, involve legal counsel, and challenge anyone to prove it. There's no urgency, no panic. But instead, Snoop reportedly made a move that stands out. He left abruptly, under circumstances that raise eyebrows. The official explanation points to business, yet the timing and secrecy make that reasoning feel unconvincing. A late-night private departure doesn't align with routine obligations. When the explanation feels...
As far as, is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he had to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He about 70. That's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway house.
That week, it invites speculation. It creates the impression that the situation is being treated as something more serious than just empty accusations. Whether that interpretation is accurate or not, the contrast between what's being said publicly and how things are unfolding privately is what keeps the entire situation unsettled and open to question. Recently, attention has shifted towards serious allegations tied to Snoop, but the situation creates a difficult dilemma. If he returns to the United States and nothing happens, no investigation, no arrest, then his sudden departure starts to look like unnecessary panic. People will question why he acted as if he had something to hide. That doubt would follow him indefinitely. On the other hand, if he chooses to stay away and builds a life elsewhere, avoiding any direct confrontation with the situation, a different narrative takes shape. It begins to look like he knew more than he admitted, enough to stay out of reach. In both scenarios, the outcome damages his image. It is not just a legal issue. It becomes a psychological bind where every move feeds suspicion rather than clears it. What complicates things even further is the credibility of the person making accusations. This is not someone widely seen as neutral or reliable. Diddy himself has faced serious legal consequences, including a conviction in July 2025 related to transportation for illegal activities, resulting in a prison sentence. Beyond that, there is widely circulated surveillance footage showing a violent incident involving Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway, an event he later addressed with an apology, but one that undeniably exists on record. All of this leads to a deeper...
So make no mistake, the music industry, it's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. Anyway, you know what I mean? It's a dirty game, so much stuff that, you may never hear about, but it's a dirty game.
Uncomfortable question. When someone with that kind of history makes claims about others, how much weight should those claims carry? It is a question without an easy answer, and it keeps the entire situation clouded in uncertainty. The contradiction becomes obvious the moment you look at it closely. If you reject Diddy's claims, then the entire accusation against Snoop falls apart. Nothing more than a convicted man shifting blame, possibly protect himself or gain leverage. But if you accept what Diddy is saying, you are relying on someone whose past is filled with legal trouble, public controversy, and serious credibility issues. Either way, the foundation of the story is unstable. What makes it even more complex is that there is no official confirmation backing any of this. No federal agency has stepped forward, no charges have been filed, and no warrant has been issued. The narrative pushing Snoop into the spotlight is being driven almost entirely by claims that remain unverified. Meanwhile, something quieter but more significant is happening behind the scenes. Tupac Shakur's family is not depending solely on law enforcement. They have brought in high-profile legal representation and launched their own investigation into whether Diddy had any involvement in the events in Las Vegas. That move signals they believe there are still unanswered questions. If their inquiry uncovers anything meaningful, it could reopen the entire case in a serious way. At the same time, other voices are adding to confusion. Suge Knight, who was present during the shooting, has made claims suggesting Snoop had indirect involvement in helping Keith D. Snoop responded, but not with a clear-cut denial, more of a defensive remark that left room for interpretation. That kind of response only